Hello, John Rogers with iLA here, and I want to welcome you to this segment, A Passion for Personal Development. Now, if you're viewing this segment in our archive, then I'll let you know that this is actually the very first segment that's been run in the iLA community. That being the case, I want to take the time to let you know that in the future, you're going to enjoy hearing from a host of gifted speakers. They're going to offer you a wealth of information that has the potential to take you to new levels in life. However, before we introduce you to those people, I'm going to share with you some very practical information that's really going to help you get the most out of everything that they're going to be sharing with you. Now, in this segment, I'm going to take the time to define exactly what I mean by personal development. And then along with that definition, I'm going to share with you two principles that have the potential to dramatically change the very course of a person's life. Now, I know that sounds like a bold statement, but I'll share exactly why I say that. But before I do that, it's important to let you know exactly what I mean when I'm talking about personal development. The reason why that's important is because I know that there's a lot of people in our community that are passionate about personal development. They're students of personal development. But at the same time, I know that there's a lot of people that might be new to the whole idea of personal development. And I don't want to assume that you know what I'm talking about. You know, recently I had a conversation with someone that clearly didn't understand what I meant when I was talking about personal development, because he broad brushed the whole concept by saying, listen, this whole personal development thing is just a bunch of hogwash and nonsense. I thought it was ironic because this is a person that I really admire a lot. It's a person that's been thoughtful about progressing in knowledge, increasing their value on the marketplace, and they really exhibited a lot of character. In other words, this is a person that I recognize as being a person who practices personal development. You see, the model of personal development that I'm operating with, and what I mean when I'm speaking of that, is not some kind of ethereal advocating of emotional sentiments that bring comfort to a person. No, it's more than that. Now, I know that there's a lot of fantastic, gifted speakers out there. They have great definitions of personal development, but there's a definition that I'd like to submit to you that will be a construct and will serve as a model to move forward with. Here's that definition. Personal development is the conscious choice to improve one's life, to become a better person, and to grow as an individual. Now, what we have there is a practical, substantive, working definition. But what does it look like? Well, let me ask you this. Are you interested in furthering your education? Well, guess what? That's personal development. What about the creative arts? Are you interested in pursuing the creative arts, whether it be music or painting or writing? If that's an interest of yours and if you want to pursue that, guess what? That's personal development. Do you want to grow and do you want to learn how to be a better father, a better mother, a better husband, a better wife, or a better friend? Well, that's personal development. And what about this? What about your health? Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to exercise? That's personal development. What about business? Do you want to learn how to increase your earnings and better manage your finances? That's definitely personal development. You see, it's because I believe what I do that I'm an advocate of personal development. I truly believe that a person can grow and achieve greater things in every area of their lives. Now, as I share those thoughts, there's a couple of things that I know about people. I know that when people hear those thoughts, that there's a couple of general postures that people have. The first posture is this. I know that some people hear that and they get excited about it. Their imagination is fired. If that's you, then I want to welcome you on board and say, I'm glad that we can share this journey together. But then at the same time, I know that there's other people that hear those things and they have a different response. These are people that kind of fold their arms and resist the notion of a better life. You know, something's happened along the way in their life where they've become cynical and jaded. And they've become content to settle for life as they know it. Now, if that's where you're at, I want to let you know, hey, you know what? It's okay. We're not going to force anything on you here, okay? But at the same time, I'd like to encourage you and I'd like to invite you to stay tuned in to some of the things that you're going to be hearing in the future. Just give consideration as to whether or not any of this makes sense. Because who knows, you might hear something that's going to change your life. So what is it that you can expect to see in the future? Well, at iLA, we are committed to bring you practical information that's really going to help you in your journey of personal development. We're going to be bringing to you people who specialize in relationships, people who are known in the area of wealth building and financial management, goal setting, time management, and so much more. Along with that, we're going to be introducing some fantastic material directly into the archive, what we call the vault. This is going to be specific information on how to cultivate a happy marriage or family life. Along with that, there's going to be some industry-specific information. Are you involved with sales, whether it be real estate sales or any other kind of sales? You know what? There's going to be some valuable information that you'll find in the vault. However, having said all that, I will say that there are two principles that are absolutely essential if a person has any desire for personal development. In fact, without these two principles, all of the information that you hear, no matter how valuable and valid it is, will all be rendered useless. And it's those principles that we're going to talk about next week. Until then, believe for great things, and we'll see you in the next segment. Hello there, John Rogers with iLA here, and I want to welcome you to part 2 of this 2-part series, A Passion for Personal Development. Now, by way of review, I'll mention to you that in the last session, I shared with you a practical working definition of personal development that will serve as a construct and a model for us to move forward with. Here's that definition. Personal development is the conscious choice to improve one's life, to become a better person, and to grow as an individual. Now, we talked about the reality that if you desire to further yourself academically, to increase your value in the marketplace, or to have healthier relationships, that all involves personal development. Now, in this segment, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 powerful principles that are absolutely essential to any personal development in a person's life. Now, these principles, they're incredibly simple. In fact, they're profound in their simplicity. But I'm going to tell you this, they're principles that if you live by them, they're going to dramatically impact every area of your life. The first of these principles is the knowledge that you can change. You can grow and you can achieve new levels in life. You see, at the core of this belief is the reality that if we're ever going to accomplish anything in life, you first have to believe that it's possible. You see, conversely, if you don't think that something is possible, there's no way that we're ever going to try to achieve it. Now, I know that there are a lot of people that are plagued with the idea that their station in life is an assignment. They have this idea that, you know what, I've been dealt this hand and it's just the hand that I have. It's the one that I'm stuck with. So people think that they're stuck in a life of anger, addiction, poverty, or broken relationships. Now, I'm familiar with that mindset. I've spoken with so many people over the years and say, John, I know that you're talking about the ability to change, but you don't understand something. You see, I was born and I was raised in an angry home, and I've always just been kind of an angry person. It's just who I am. Or someone might say, you know what, addiction is a part of my family. I was raised in addiction and I struggle with addictions all my life, and I just don't feel like I can ever break out of this cycle. Well, if that's really what you think, and if that's really what you're willing to settle for, then you know what, that's okay. But at the same time, I want to let you know with everything that I've got, you don't have to live like that anymore. You see, I do understand, because I'm not talking about mere concept or theory here. I'm talking about my experience and the experience of seas of other people throughout time. You see, it's because of my experience that I have a passion for the things that I'm talking about. Because I was one of these people that I felt like for the longest time that I just had a bum hand that was dealt to me. Now, I was raised in a broken home. The reality for me growing up is that my mother and father, they divorced at a young age. Both of them remarried again and to divorce again multiple times. For me, when I was growing up, drug use was just a normal thing. It was reality. I thought that that's what everybody did. That's the hand that I was dealt with. In fact, when I was 13 years old, my mother sat me down at the kitchen table and she shared cocaine with me for the first time. Oh, I could tell you a lot of stories, but let me just put it simply by saying this. By the time I was 19 years old, I was finished. I was a nickel and dime street punk kid, sleeping in parks, eating out of garbage cans, and strung out on drugs. I was hopping in and out of jails, and the only future that I really had was a future of death or institutions. You see, I know what it's like to be in a place in life where everything seems hopeless, total despair, and it doesn't seem like it's possible for anything to get better. Now, as I tell you that story in the context of talking about personal development, I got to be open with you, and I got to tell you that that change in my life, what happened from then to now, was not the result of me having an aha moment and finding some personal development book and saying, hey, you know what? I see that I have a need for improvement in my life, and I'm going to apply myself and change personally, because I'll tell you what, that's not the case at all. The reality is that something happened to me at that point in my life where I did have a spiritual experience that changed me forever. The reality of the matter is that every principle in my life really is truly grounded in my faith in God, and for me to say anything otherwise wouldn't be the truth. However, one of the things that came from that experience is the reality and the knowledge that things can change. I'm not destined to live that life forever. I'm not destined to a life of hopelessness. Early on, I was real fortunate to be introduced to a number of people that would come to be my mentors. These are people who are known in personal development, like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy. These are all men that I know really, really well. Now, I got to say this. They don't know me, and we've never had any conversations, but I tell you what, I've read their books so much that I feel like I know them personally, and truly, they've been mentors to me. They taught me valuable lessons. They let me know that I had control over what I think, the things that I do, who I am as a person, and they let me know that I could grow and change as a person. You see, it's that principle, the truth that we can change, that changes so many things. And building on that principle, we come to principle number 2, and that is the principle of action or applied knowledge. You see, it really doesn't matter what a person knows. It doesn't matter what a person learns. A person can have all the best knowledge in the world. I'm going to tell you this, it's 100% useless unless a person acts on it. A person can have access and learn the wisdom of the ages and be a fool unless he applies it. Now, belief is important. In fact, I'm a huge advocate of belief. In fact, I've been known for saying, hey, believe for good things, believe for great things, because I think that belief is so important. But as much as I'm an advocate of belief, I got to tell you, you can believe things all day long, and it's useless unless you act on it. In fact, an author long ago, a wise man, wrote, faith without works is dead. And I've had an opportunity over the years to interact with this in an interesting way. In the past, I used to be a teacher for a while, and as a teacher, I'd have students come to me and ask me advice and counsel about life direction, and things like that. And I'd have an opportunity to share things with them. Also, I used to serve as a pastor. And as a pastor, I've had a lot of people come to me with a lot of huge life challenges. You know, I really feel for where they're at, and I've offered them counsel and advice, things that I would hope would help them. Now, in all of those times with interacting with people and sharing with people, I was really pleased to be able to share with those people principles that have been useful in my life and useful in the lives of so many other people. But I realized that no matter how good that information might be, all of it was 100% useless if that person failed to act on it. So then, if a person truly desires to achieve better things in life, they're going to have to be willing to do the things that it takes. And that being said, I want to encourage you and challenge you with this. Don't let wisdom pass you by. In the future, you're going to be blessed to have time-tested, life-transforming information delivered right to your cell phone. It's as if it's been placed right in your lap. It's a gift that's been given to you. If we're mindful of opening our ears and applying the knowledge into our lives, the potential for change is amazing. With that, remember to believe for great things, and we'll see you in the next segment.